to rock this place. Hey! Hey!
Welcome to Season 3, Episode 15 of the Bubble of Sports Conversation Room. With the holidays just around the corner, we have some added Saturday games to chat about this week. So anyway, I'm your host, Jamie Malloy, along with my co-host, Joe Dalio, ready to get started. So without any further delay, here's Joe. Hey, Joe, how's it going?
It is going great, Jamie. How are you doing tonight?
I feel like I just saw you. Oh, wait a minute. That was backstage.
I see either that or somebody that looks just like you backstage. Yes. And we were talking about, again, I say this all the time, how, shocked that it's December, or, it's Christmas Eve tomorrow night or tomorrow. 2 more weeks of the NFL regular season to go. I don't know where the time goes. It's going really fast, and I feel like
you forgot it. Another important moment in Bill's history. Guess what? The next 2 weeks, it's the last 2 final regular season games ever at the current Highmark Stadium. How fast is that?
Yeah, that's that's a shock in itself. The fact that, we've hit this point. I mean, they've been playing there, for 52 years or whatever. But, so that time has not flown. But, yeah, again, this season where we're talking about, it's the last season and you don't actually think you're going to get there. But now here we are with 2 games to go.
Hey, I mean, you could probably you could have said the same thing with Adam back in the day, like 2000 was the last year at Three Rivers.
Mm-hmm.
And now at the current stadium, they're playing that opened in 2001. I bet you Adam probably felt the same way.
Yeah, any Steelers fans or anybody in that same situation, with a new stadium like that, especially one where, again, you got so many memories, talking about Pittsburgh, talking about Buffalo, a lot of those old stadiums, even – I feel horrible for Raiders fans, because now they got what they have now. Think of all those memories that, that they have in Oakland Coliseum there. So, Yes, time goes on and things change. And now, that change has arrived in our backyard here. But again, time moves on. I think this is the right time. And it's, sad to close this chapter, but it's going to be very exciting to open the next one.
Hey, guess what? The Chiefs got to do it too in 2031. They're going to be, what do you think? They're going to be moving out of Missouri and moving to the Kansas side of Kansas City. They're planning on building a $3 million retractable roof stadium there.
Right. You got that. You're going to have the Indiana Bears. You're going to have everything going on here, so I hope the Bears don't move to Indiana, but that's inevitable, or very possible.
I tell you why they should, because look at how far certain policies have gone in Chicago for years, and their taxes and everything. And like I said, they could. But think about it. Imagine Gary, Indiana. That's obviously near Chicago. But Imagine, other than Michael Jackson, nothing has come out of Gary. So if you move them out of Chicago and you build a retractable roof stadium there, you're revising a city there that actually people will want to go to, putting a football team there. And could you imagine, Joe, like whatever, welcome to Super Bowl, live from the Mike Pence Center in Gary, Indiana. Imagine that. Imagine, what if they call it the Mike Pence Center? Wouldn't that be cool? Or the Mike Pence Stadium or something?
Yeah, we're laughing about it now, but it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility. So,
hey, I bet you Mike Pence will like the dollar bills for that if he put his name on it.
Of course, so hey, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah. or Michael Jackson Stadium. Honor,
You never know. I tell my kids and I tell people that, we used to go to, like Space Mountain at Disney World, and you go through like the futuristic thing after it. And I tell my kids, I said they had this shocking thing there. They had this phone where you could actually see the person you were talking to. It's like, that's, crazy stuff. And now, what do we have? We got phones where we could actually see the person we're talking to. They have this thing in 2025 where you can actually do podcasts and work with somebody an hour and a half away and on the same computer and do a show together. I mean, how crazy is that?
Or even 3 or 4 hours away, because Adam's in suburban Pittsburgh too.
Right. I mean, next thing they're going to tell me is you could do a show like that with people from all over the country. I mean, come on.
Yeah. But anyway, you ready to start talking some football, Joe, this week?
Yeah, let's talk some 2025 football here.
Okay, so first we're going to start talking about the Thursday night matchup. That was that's going to probably go down as being one of the all-time greats, between the 11-3 LA Rams taking on the 11-3 Seattle Seahawks at Lumen Field. And what are we going to do, Joe? What does Shabuzi always say? We go let them know. So let's do it. With 7:03 left in the first quarter, Zach Charbonnet whined for everybody, ran it in for a 4-yard touchdown to bring the score to 7-0 Seattle. With 1:43 left in the first, Harrison Neves, the thicker kicker, kicked a 23-yard field goal to cut the lead to 7-3 Seattle. With 12:45 left in the second quarter, Neves kicked the second field goal of the game, this time for 28 yards to bring the score to 7-6 Seahawks. With 3:43 left in the second quarter, Terrence Ferguson, Fergie Ferg, let me love you long time, caught a 3-yard pass from Matthew Stafford to end the half at 13-7. With 12:57 left in the third quarter, KW3, or Kenneth Walker III, ran it in for a 55-yard touchdown, bringing the score to 14-13 Seattle. With 8:37 left in the third quarter, Neves kicked his third field goal of the game, this time for 41 yards, to bring the score to 16-14 Rams. With 6:30 left in the third, Blake Corum ran it in for a 1-yard touchdown, bringing the score to 23-14. With 13:34 left in the fourth, Puka Nakua caught a 1-yard pass from Matthew Stafford, bringing the score to 13-14. And with 8:03 left in the fourth quarter, Rashid Shaheed from the New Orleans Saints took a punt return for a touchdown, and the 2-point conversion was good, bringing the score to 30-22. We have a ball game all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It looked like it was over for the Rams, and the Rams are going to celebrate, but not so fast. With 6:23 in the fourth, A.J. Barner caught a 26-yard pass for a score, and the 2-point conversion was good, knotting the game at 30-all. In overtime, with 6:27 left, Nakua caught a 41-yard pass from Stafford, giving him the first lead, 37-30. With 3:13 left in overtime, JSI, or Jackson Smith and Jingba, caught a 4-yard, JSE, Jackson Smith and Jingba, caught a 4-yard touchdown pass from Darnold, and the 2-point conversion was good, giving the Seahawks the thrilling overtime win, 38-37, and giving them sole possession of first place in the NFC West. So, Joe, what did you think about that back and forth game? And what did you think about that initial 2-point conversion that was incomplete? And they went and reviewed it, and they said it was a catch.
Uh-huh. Yeah, there have been so many games this year that we are like, oh, instant classic, one of the best games of the year. I mean, how many times is this happening? From week 1, when the Ravens were playing the Bills, that was an instant classic. Dallas Giants, and unfortunately, the Giants were victims of several comebacks. How about the Broncos coming back and doing a crazy game? There have been countless, primetime nail-biting classic comebacks in this season There were two of those instant classics just this week, and this is certainly one of them. Now, again, my bedtime is not very late, and it's got to be something really good for me, to stay up, or at least try to stay up. And I had a couple of pennies on the Seahawks in this game. I thought, they got a shot here, and I just had them to win the game, and they're losing badly. They were losing at the half, and then they were losing even worse. So it's like, all right, this game's over. No sense. And how many times have I done this year? These great instant classics, these primetime night games, I haven't even seen any of them, including the Bills game against the Ravens that I was in and out of sleep trying to follow. But this game I was long gone. I said, forget it. I lost here, this game's done. The way the Rams were playing, the Seahawks can't stop them. And it's come to find out the next day. Now, the way I found out is, I have some good college friends that are Jets fans. And I went in the morning to check the score of this game, and I see the text. I'm in a text group with my college friends. And the first thing I see is, where was this Sam Darnold when he was with us, with the Jets? I was like, wait a minute, the Sam Darnold I was watching last night was playing like the guy from the Jets. What the heck happened here? And I look, and I see the score, and I saw that they came back, and that was one thing. But then when I saw how they came back, and, you gave a great description of it, a couple of minutes ago here, I just couldn't believe it the more I read. And the fact that the game goes to overtime, the Rams score, and with this new Buffalo Bills 2020 overtime rule here, the team gets another chance, and not only do they score, but they make the 2-point conversion, one that they originally missed. So, I mean, how crazy can you get? And a game, as long as I go to sleep, a game has potential to do that. If I stay up and watch the game, it probably would have been 54-10 in favor of the Rams. And these offensive statistics here would prove that. I mean, Matthew Stafford playing like an MVP, 457 yards, 3 touchdowns. All right. Puka Nacua, 12 catches, 225 yards, 2 touchdowns. By my bad math, that's about 46 fantasy points. So anybody in a semifinal in their fantasy league with Puka on their team, I think that's Super Bowl for you, because unless the rest of your team is awful, Puka carried you. So just everything about this game, just absolutely incredible. And again, we've seen this a lot of times throughout the week, or throughout the season, rather. And it's just, a testament to this classic NFL season that hasn't even seen its biggest games yet. With the playoffs coming up here. So just amazing. Tip your hat to Seattle for making that huge comeback at home, giving themselves a chance to still win this division. And, great comeback with them. Now, again, a tough loss for the Rams. I still think they're the best team in this division, but unfortunately now they put themselves in a hole. But like you said, Jamie, it's the teams that are making these playoffs, and you might have said this backstage, so I should clarify that we had this conversation, that, of all the teams going into the playoffs here, maybe all but 2, I think, are legitimate Super Bowl contenders. And, we were saying how, there's not much in the way of record, in the way of talent, separating all of these playoffs teams. So it's a crapshoot, and any of these teams can excel, and it doesn't matter whether you're playing at home or on the road. Obviously, you want to win the division and get the games at home, gives yourselves a better chance there. But doesn't matter where these games are going to be played. They're going to be classics. They're going to be amazing. Anybody can win them. And I think as classic as this NFL season has been, we haven't even seen the best of it yet.
That's the scary thing.
You're right. Right?
Yeah. And Joe, with the Rams having 40-plus minutes of time of possession and the Seahawks only having over 26 minutes, how do you think Seattle found a way to overcome that and beat the Rams in overtime?
I have no idea how to answer that except clutch. again, just guys putting it together at the right time and making the big plays when they had to make those plays, and just not giving up. I mean, they're down 30-14. Could have easily packed it in there, but they gave up a touchdown in overtime. I mean, could have basically just kind of lost hope there. But just making clutch plays, and again, I was asleep for this, so it's even harder for me to answer. I just, again, making clutch plays and not giving up until the final whistle here, and coming out with a victory that, not only saves your season, but may have just enhanced it.
Joe, don't call me a conspiracy theorist on this, but I wonder if all these teams that are losing when they're going into halftime, I wonder if they're blasting "Never Gonna Give You Up" by Rick Astley every time in the locker room during all these Thursday night games, because it seems like it's motivating, and every time they may have done it, there's been a comeback on Thursday night. I wonder if Rick Astley's in their heads, or they're listening to it at halftime. I mean, what the heck?
Maybe we could say with these comebacks, the teams are getting steamrolled, but perhaps instead of saying that, we could say they're getting rickrolled. Who knows?
Rickrolled, yeah. I love the rickrolls when they show those.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, now turning our attention to the Saturday 5 p.m. game between the 9-5 Philadelphia Eagles and their anti football food conspiracy spokesperson / actor Bradley Cooper, taking on the 4-10 Washington Commanders. And I don't know who their celebrity spokesperson or fan is, but it's not Bradley Cooper, I can tell you that. Anyway, let's get on to the highlights. With 11:39 left in the first quarter, Jake Moody hit a 20-yard field goal to give the Commanders the lead, 3-0. With 2:37 left in the first, Devontae Smith from Alabama caught a 5-yard pass from Jalen Hurts, also originally from Alabama, to give the Eagles the lead, 7-3. Bama to Bama connection. With 3:40 left in the second quarter, Ja'Cory Korsky Merritt ran it in for a 1-yard touchdown, and that touchdown was surely based off of Merritt. And the Commanders regained the lead 10-7. With 3:27 left in the third, Dallas Goedert, his name is Dallas, but he plays in Philly, caught a 15-yard pass from Hurts, leading the score at the end of 3 quarters, 14-10. With 11:33 left in the fourth quarter, Saquon Barkley, who? Wait a minute. Did I read that right? Oh, yeah, he finally showed up. Saquon Barkley ran it in with a 12-yard run to bring the score to 21-10 Eagles. With 4:26 left in the fourth quarter, here's a name from the past NFL fans, Tank Bigsby, ran it in for a touchdown, and the 2-point conversion was good, bringing the score to 29-10. With 1:10 left in the game, Chris Rodriguez Jr. from Kentucky scored on a 3-yard touchdown run, and that's how the game went in with the score of 29-18, giving the Eagles the NFC East title. Sorry, Cowboys fans. So, Joe, what do you think about the Eagles winning the NFC East title 2 years in a row? Remember, this is the first time in a while that the NFC East had a back-to-back winner.
Yeah, we all knew that was going to happen. It was just a matter of when. I mean, unfortunately, Washington with a lost season, I didn't expect much from them anyway this year. But of course, that was enhanced, losing Jaden Daniels for most of the season. You said something here that I had in my notes, for this game, that this was the Eagles team everybody expected all year, offensively anyway. Like you said, some guy named Barkley showing up, and finally having an excellent, 100-yard game, 132 yards and a touchdown. And, the Tank showing up, but even A.J. Brown, 95 yards. He didn't score a touchdown, but Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert did, as you mentioned. So this is the team that I think we have been expecting all year. And, as far as the Eagles are concerned, and just, Washington was beat from the start, it looked like, and, they're just playing out the string right now. And again, I can understand them being frustrated, but yeah, again, this is the Eagles that everybody's expecting. And if they start getting hot now, look out.
Yeah, I know. And we play them next show. We'll get to that, but we'll actually get to my point of why I think playing them now while they won the division title already is a good thing. But we'll get to that later. I'll explain it. And and Joe, do you think it would have been a more competitive game if Jaden Daniels wasn't hurt and was playing?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, I think the Eagles are a much better team anyway. And I don't know how different the result would have been. I think you would have got a more spirited effort from Washington. And I think they obviously would have had a better chance to win the game. So, yes, it definitely would have been more competitive with him there, not to take anything away from, Mariota. But it just seems like from the start, the Washington did not have a chance in this game, without Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, and don't forget, Mariota got hurt, and Ryan Fitzpatrick 2.0, a.k.a. Josh Johnson, had to come in.
Right.
Just like Fitz, he played for 17 different teams.
Yeah.
Josh Johnson. Anyway, so I'm now moving on to the second Saturday matchup between the 9-4-1 Green Bay Packers at dang one, right? Versus the 10-4 Chicago Bears at Soldier Field. The Bears keep winning, but as Ken the Bears fan always says, the disrespect is real.
Yeah.
But here we go. There was no scoring in the first quarter, so let's move on to the second. Woohoo! With 12:45 left in the second quarter, Brandon, he's the McManus, kicked a 26-yard field goal to give the Packers the lead 3-0. With 41 left in the half, Yuta McManus kicked his second field goal of the game, this for 22 yards to end the half at 6-0 Packers. So, Joe, who the McManus? He the McManus, right?
Yes.
With 12 left in the third, Cairo Santos kicked a field goal for 46 yards to cut the lead to 6-3. With 33 seconds in the third, Romeo Doubs caught a 33-yard pass ending the quarter at 13-3 Packers. Romeo Doubs, the guy with the biggest Guardian hat, I think in the NFL, because it puffs open like a balloon when you see it. With 10:52 left in the fourth quarter, Santos kicked his second field goal of the game, this after 51 yards to cut the lead to 13-6 Panthers. With 5:03 left in the fourth, McManus kicked his third field goal for 28 yards, bringing the score to 16-6 Packers. Oh my God, Joe, it's over. But when you play, it ain't over when you're playing the Bears this year, right?
Yep.
With 1:59 in the fourth, Santos hit his third quarter for 43 yards to cut the lead to 69 Packers. It's like, okay, so you think with them having to announce the onside kick, the Packers are going to recover and the game's over, right? We're thinking, no, the Bears aren't going to recover this. Right?
No, I was just going to say that nobody recovers onside kicks, do they?
Well, unless you're the Bears this year, when with all those comeback wins after the Bears recovered an onside kick. Funny, huh? It's only like the fourth recovered onside kick, but it's done by the team you expect them to do it. And Ja'Day Walker caught a 6-yard pass with 24 seconds left in regulation to tie the score 16-all and bring the game to overtime. Ja'Day. With 4:50 left in overtime, DJ Moore caught the winning touchdown to give the Bears the win 22-16. So, Joe, what do you think about the cardiac Bears getting it done with the overtime win? But I'm sure Ken the Bear fan is going to say the disrespect is still real, right? Because he's a Bears fan. But what do you think?
Well, I was disrespecting them, that's for sure. In the middle of this game, again, God, I don't give these teams confidence. And again, we were just talking about the Rams-Seattle game, saying that there were 2 games like this that were unbelievable. How in the world comebacks? And here's this other one, and it's not even Sunday yet. And again, 16-6 late, or even it was 13-3, I think is when I was done. We had company and we had a nice little party, a Christmas party at the house on Saturday evening. So I didn't even get a chance to start watching this, but then, people leave and then it's like, all right, I can, go to bed and catch this, but it's like, it's 13-3. Bears aren't doing anything. Caleb Williams is playing like, Aberflus is his coach or something. And he, this game's not going anywhere. The Bears aren't doing anything. Packers are dominating. So forget about it. And guess who missed another classic game? Hi, everybody. I wake up this morning again in shock. What in the world happened here? And then to see again how it happened. It's 16-6. Okay, they kick a field goal, 16-9. And then again, onside kick recovered. That was the most shocking part of this whole thing. Not at the fact that a team came back and won, not doing anything for 3 quarters. Okay, that happens. But doing that and then recovering an onside kick, an announced onside kick, and then winning the game in overtime. Again, shocking win, classic NFL game. If this is what we're going to be seeing in the playoffs, I just fasten your seatbelts, folks, because these games have been absolute classics. And now, we were talking about Seattle going from, all right, still in a probable playoff position to enhancing their spot and giving themselves a chance to win a division. The Packers just pretty much undid every good that they've done. They put themselves from being in control of their division, perhaps, or going far, to now putting themselves still as a playoff team, still as a very capable playoff team, but now making it a much more uphill battle than they would have had they held on to win this game. So, and opposite for the Bears. The Bears are putting themselves like the Seahawks did. So, again, incredible comeback. God only knows how it happened. Because I was long gone and long asleep. But again, when a team was getting totally dominated, and I shouldn't say totally dominated, because again, you look at the stats here, and the Bears had more yards, at like 400 yards, and the Packers, still had close to that. So it's not like the Bears weren't doing anything, but they just couldn't finalize drives and capitalize on things. So, the fact that all of a sudden they did that, capped off by an onside kick, is just absolutely incredible.
Mm-hmm. And so, Joe, what do you think about Green Bay's chances dwindling in the playoff picture? I think you just answered that, but go ahead.
Yeah, I still think they're going to get in. I mean, it's going to take a lot. I don't know what their schedule is going forward here, but I know that, the teams behind them are struggling, and it's going to be very, very difficult, because I think you got the Lions and then the, Tampa or Carolina, who doesn't win the division, behind them. And I think those 2 teams are a lot less likely to make the playoffs. So again, the Packers, they may end up getting in as a 7 seed or something like that. But who's to say that they couldn't go into Philadelphia or to Chicago and beat them next time? So, they're certainly, yes, they might have put themselves in a tougher position and maybe just took themselves out of Green Bay during January, which, gives them a big advantage. But again, there's, you can't tell me that they can't go into Philadelphia, Seattle, Chicago, and win a game there. So that it's, just again, making it tougher, but still a Super Bowl contender, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Now, taking our look at the game of our week, Joe, the 10-4 Buffalo Bills taking on the 3-11 but young youth movement Cleveland Browns, led by Shador Sanders at Huntington Bank Stadium. in downtown Cleveland on the mystical waters of Lake Erie. Anyway, on the Browns' first drive of the game, Shedeur Sanders threw a 13-yard touchdown pass to Harold Fan Jr., tight end, on a 69-yard drive, taking 4:18 off the clock on an 8-play call to give Cleveland the lead 7-0. Classic Bills. They always do this on the first drive because they play a shell defense. But after that, answering back on their first drive, the Bills scored with James Cook taking it to the house on a 44-yard run to knot the game at 7-0. With 12:56 in the second quarter, Ty Johnson scored his second rushing touchdown of the season on a 2-yard run, but newly acquired kicker Michael Badgley, the Money Badger, that's his nickname. Did you know that? They called him that. Missed the extra point, bringing the score to 13-7 Bills. With 5:41 left in the second quarter, Andre Schmidt from the Syracuse Orange and the UFL St. Louis Battlehawks kicked a 24-yard field goal, cutting the lead to 13-10 Buffalo. With 2:26 left in the second quarter, Cook ran it in for his second touchdown of the day on a 3-yard scramble, increasing the Bills' lead 20-10. Cook on a scramble. Man, maybe Bradley Cooper's got a point. I don't know.
Yeah.
With 9:41 left in the third, this time Badgley made amends and kicked a 41-yard field goal, bringing the score to 23-10 Buffalo. With 1:39 left in the third quarter, Fan Jr. scored his second touchdown of the game on a 67-yard drive, taking 7:56 off the clock on a 14-play drive to cut the score to 23-17 Bills. With 8:50 left in the fourth quarter, Andre Schmidt kicked his second field goal of the game, this time for 41 yards to cut the lead to 23-20 Buffalo, and that's how the game would end. So, Joe, what did you think about the Bills doing just enough to hang in there to win a game they needed, and it ended up being the playoff clinching winner as we got help from San Francisco last night on Monday night?
Yeah, that's first of all, I like your Bradley Cooper reference again. It's like he is a pretty smart guy. Maybe he's not so shallow after all, right? But yeah, I expected this game to be close. I thought again, I was hoping the Bills would not come out flat after winning that game in New England. Cleveland has stuck up on teams before, right? They beat the Packers in Cleveland there, and they played some other teams tough. So I didn't think the Browns were going to win this game, and I'm not so surprised that it was that it was close. All right, now I think the Bills were like 10-point favorites, and I expected the Bills to win by about 8, 9, 10 points, something like that. It did get a little scary at the end, and I was like, oh my goodness, they've actually put themselves in a position where one fluke play and they can lose this game. Still all along, not thinking it possible that they could lose, but it was possible. But they did, take it and clinch it at the end. Now, not one of the better Josh Allen games. I mean, not that he played horribly, but just did nothing really to stand out. Again, it was all about James Cook, 117 yards, a couple of touchdowns. Again, that 44-yard run that making a great run there, and he's always capable of doing that, which is incredible. Again, it was the 2021 defense. Jordan Poyer, who the heck is this guy? Is he some rookie or something? All over the field again, just like he was against New England, half a sack and 11 tackles and making big plays when they needed big tackles. Matt Milano, again, he made a mistake that, kind of changed some of the momentum of the game and kind of brought the Browns back into it. But that was just, one mistake at the wrong time. Otherwise, again, I thought as I'm watching, 21 and 58, I was like, am I flashing back to 2021 here? Because, that's the kind of game that these guys were playing. And this is a couple of weeks in a row now that they've done this. So great to see these guys have completely resurrected and playing some of the best defensive players for the Bills. So again, they got the job done. Like you said, it turned out to be the clincher as far as making the playoffs. I think, again, we're pretty sure they were going to make that anyway, unless they had a couple of bad losses at the end here. And certainly losing this game would have put them in a tough spot. But, even though the Browns made it close, and give them credit, they have absolutely nothing to play for, just developing some of these guys, getting Shedeur Sanders some experience. And, he played okay, I thought. Made some nice plays, and, he was hurt for part of the game. So, a couple of interceptions that, you could say maybe were not his fault, but, you could say maybe they were for, you got to throw those balls a little higher so they don't get deflected. He's learning again, not an awful game by him. And I like the fight from him and the Browns. Ultimately, again, though, the Bills taking the ultimate victory.
Like I said, it's going to be interesting, Joe. They got a lot of young, good rookies, I think, that they can build the core with. And I think if they don't take another quarterback, I think they let Shedeur play for another year and keep trying to build around them. And who knows? I mean, we'll see. They're young. Their young core is good. The running backs and everything like that. But what did you think about Shedeur Sanders' play, though, and keeping Cleveland in the game?
Yeah, he was playing like a veteran at times. Again, he made some of those rookie mistakes there. But, again, I like the fight, and I like the leadership, and I like hey, come on, we got this. Let's go. And again, I was not thinking, when I'm thinking about the fact that, hey, I still think the Bills are going to win this game, but it's getting a little, crazy here. And I'm getting some doubts in my mind. And, with some other guys in there, I was like, okay, with this rookie quarterback, I'm confident he's not going to be capable of bringing this team back. And I wasn't thinking that with him. I was thinking, oh no, this guy is capable of bringing this team back. So the Bills better be careful. So he put some fear into me there. And again, he made the rookie mistakes, and, those interceptions could go either way as far as where you place the blame on him. But I like the game that he played and the fight that he had in that game. First time I was able to watch him play, actually, too. I was telling, my wife was watching the game with me, and she didn't know who he was. I told her, oh, that's Deion Sanders' kid, and, she obviously knows who Deion Sanders is. And, I kept saying this is the first time I've gotten a chance to really watch him play. So, I was glad I was able to do that.
Yeah, but you said he plays with fire and passion. That's how his old man was,
Right.
You don't expect anything less from a Sanders, right?
I didn't realize how much he looks like Deion too. They showed a couple of shots on the bench there, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!"
Like a younger version.
I guess because I'd never really seen pictures, and again, I never saw him play in college either. I don't watch a lot of college football, especially Colorado games, but again, he just started playing the last few weeks for the Browns. So yeah, I didn't realize dude's like a spitting image of dad there.
Yeah, he is. Hey, guess what? He's just like his dad, too legit to quit. MC Hammer, right?
Yeah.
But Deion that was his motto. He
right.
He mottoed MC Hammer.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And so, Joe, what do you think about Greg Rousseau actually finally coming out of hiding and playing a good defensive game? 2.5 sacks.
Yes. And again, he was playing like the Greg Rousseau we've come to know, and making clutch plays, at the right times. And again, he hasn't been doing a lot of that this year, but it was great to see him show up and make those plays here. And hopefully he can continue that momentum now and take that into the playoffs.
And Joe, did you know this? This kind of goes back to, remember when Wade Phillips was like undefeated or whatever with the vest that he wore, or the sweater that he wore, and with that he wasn't as good. Well, guess what? Did you know that when Coach Sean McDermott wears those crazy prescribed glasses, the team's only 3-3, but they're 8-1 when he doesn't wear them.
I did not know that before the game, but they were saying that during the game on the broadcast. And they said he was 3-3 with the glasses, and yeah, now it's 7-1 or 8-1, and they were making a big deal out of it. It's like, now me, okay, even if I'm not superstitious, I'm at least a little stitious. So I could certainly understand how those types of things get attention. And I did see that during the game that they were saying that. And so I guess the pressure is on. He's going to have to figure out another way to see during the football season, because I don't think he's going to get away with wearing those glasses anymore.
Anyway, Joe, do you want to put in our predictions in for next week's game against the Philadelphia Eagles at home? And you want to go first?
Okay, sure. And I think that, again, you talk classic games. I don't think this is going to be one of those classic comeback games like we saw two of over the past week here. But I think it's going to be a back and forth classic. I mean, these two teams always play those kind of games, it seems like. Ultimately, I think the Bills take this one. I think the final score is going to be Bills 27, Eagles 24.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you with the classic game and everything. It's going to be interesting to see what the Eagles do, though, because they already got the division wrapped up.
Right.
And they're not playing for seeding. How many of their regular guys do you think are going to actually play against Buffalo? Because Buffalo is going to go all in, chips on the table, and play everybody to still win the division. So that's
right.
Be interesting.
Now, I did not realize, and I'm going to keep my prediction there, but I did not realize that the Eagles were locked where they are. I thought they still had a chance to go up because I really thought they'd still pull out all the stops and try to win this game. Now, saying that, I still think they're going to pull out all the stops to try to win, knowing the way the Eagles play and how competitive they are. But yeah, I didn't realize what their situation was. And now, what are they locked in, like the 3 spot, or?
Yeah, they're 10-5. I don't think they can go any higher, though.
Okay.
I don't think they're going to get the number 1, and it's very, very unlikely that they move up to 2. So
okay. But they may just try, to win this game and play hard just to kind of keep their momentum going. You don't want to take the foot off the gas, especially playing a game like they played. You want to keep that momentum going. Now, again, there's a risk, and you don't want to get anybody hurt or anything like that. So it'd be interesting. That's a very interesting question. And again, I wasn't totally aware. And what you say makes total sense based on the records and who's behind them and who's in front of them, that they're probably locked into that 3 spot. So that'll make things a little interesting to see.
I didn't give my score yet. I think the Bills are going to win. I got 27-20.
Okay. So that sounds, good as well.
Oops. Uh-oh. Oops. Uh-oh. Here we go, Joe. Sorry, I accidentally logged out of the screen. My bad.
Jamie, I promise I'll never cut you off from saying your score again.
Okay. Anyway, guess what? It is now. Let's now head to the 4:25 p.m. competition between 2 8-6 teams face each other in the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Detroit Lions at Ford Field, the house that Dan Campbell built. With 9:21 left in the first quarter, Chris Boswell kicked a 59-yard field goal to bring the score to 3-0 Pittsburgh. With 10:10 left in the second, Jake Bates from the UFL kicked a 36-yard field goal to knot the game at 3-3. With 1:55 left in the half, Isaac Tesla caught a 20-yard pass to take their first lead, 10-3 Detroit. With 2 seconds left in the half, Kenneth Gainwell caught a 45-yard pass to bring the score to 10-all. With 9:42 left in the third, Jared Goff was sacked for a safety, putting Pittsburgh back up 12-10. With 14:58 in the fourth, Boswell kicked his second field goal of the game from 23 yards, bringing the score to 15-10. With 12:23 left in the fourth, Jalen Warren ran it in for a 45-yard touchdown, bringing the score to 22-10. With 8:39 left in the fourth, Khalif Raymond caught a 27-yard pass to cut the lead to 22-17. With 6:41 left in the fourth, Warren ran for a second touchdown again for 45 yards to put the Steelers ahead, 29-17. With 4:11 left in the fourth quarter, Jahmyr Gibbs would catch a 4-yard pass from Goff, and that's how the game would end, 24-29 Steelers. So, Joe, what did you think about that wild play where it looked like they were short, and then the ball was alive, and Jared Goff appeared to score the game-winning touchdown, only to have the play called back on a holding penalty? Do you think that should have been a holding penalty on that last call of the game?
Yeah, it was. I don't think it was a holding penalty. I think it was like an interference penalty, right? Where
pass interference. I mean, yeah. Do you think it was a pass interference?
Okay. I think it could have gone either way, but I don't think that's a call you can reverse at that point of the game. Now, here's another crazy. We already had 2 crazy games this weekend. And I'm thinking as I'm watching this, because this one was a 4:00 game. So I'm watching it, nothing else going on. My wife and I are watching it together and just seeing the craziness going on. And I'm thinking this could be another crazy comeback, which we've had 2 of already. And then the way things are going, I mean, the line or the Steelers are up by 12. There's like 5 minutes, 6 minutes to go. They almost come back in this game. It's crazy. And I kept telling my wife too, I was like, why do I get the crazy feeling that the Lions are going to win this game? Because the Steelers have had so many chances to put it away and they haven't. And even though they've dominated the game, I mean, the Lions couldn't stop them for anything. Warren has, I think all 3 of Pittsburgh's scores were like 45 yards, including those 2 45-yard breakaway runs by Warren. That ending was one of the craziest endings that not only have I seen this year in an NFL game, but one of the craziest endings ever. So to get back to your question there, I mean, I'm seeing this, and then I'm seeing that, and then I'm seeing a guy run into the end zone. It's like, wait a minute. But I'm thinking about the whole thing and the penalty. Bottom line is you can't reverse that. Again, I don't think it was a bad call. I think, again, had it gone the other way and it was a no call, I think that could have been just as acceptable. I don't completely disagree. I mean, it was very marginal, that pass interference call, and I don't think the refs know or knew what kind of an impact that ultimately would have, based on what followed. The penalty had already been called. So, again, very marginal. You can argue, well, come on, that kind of stuff happens a lot and that. But I mean, I think St. Brown made it very obvious. And had he not run straight at him, I think that might have changed things a little bit. But I honestly don't mind the call. I don't think it was a horrible call. Was it avoidable? Yes, maybe. But there's no way. I mean, if they reverse that call, there's a little bit of controversy, should they have made the call or not, but you reverse that, you create a whole wave of controversy. So I think they made the right move by not reversing it, letting it be. It stinks for the Lions, but I think that's the way they had to leave it. Mm-hmm. What do you think about it?
I don't know. It's just all that. I'm not surprised at this point. It comes down to that, but it does.
Right. And that's an impossible position for the referees too. I mean, again, they made the call before the real madness happened. So, and again, St. Brown could have helped himself by taking a much less direct route to the guy that he hit, and there's a lot of things that could happen. But even though, again, it's a maybe, maybe not, you change that call and now you create all kinds of craziness.
Mm-hmm. And Joe, how do you think Rodgers played in this game? Aaron Rodgers.
Very well. Again, he is Aaron Rodgers the same quarterback that he was 5-10 years ago? Of course not. But I saw a guy that had that winning mentality, that was bound and determined to win this game. Willed his team to victory. And again, they had a grind. It wasn't all Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he had some good stats and everything. Really, Jaylen Warren just running wild on the Lions defense is what really helped. Kenneth Gainwell making an incredible touchdown play. That was the other 45-yarder, I think, where the guy's basically down on his butt, making a catch that they thought he didn't. And all of a sudden he gets up and runs and scores. So being alert there. But Aaron Rodgers, again, the Steelers dominated and should have won this game a lot more easily. But Aaron Rodgers was playing with the attitude that he was not about to let his team lose this game. And so I appreciated that.
Mm-hmm. Guess what, Joe? It is now that time in our show for a question of the week segment. Would you like to give it a try?
Yeah, I got a 1-game winning streak here, or 1 week winning streak. So let's see if we can extend that.
Okay, Joe, here's your question for this week. Can you guess this NFL player? He has been traded to his fourth team, and he's fourth in active touchdown catches. Is it DeAndre Hopkins, Stephon Diggs, Davante Adams, Amari Cooper?
Wow. All right, let me start counting teams. So you said DeAndre Hopkins. All right, maybe 4 for him. Who was the other one after Hopkins, you said?
Diggs.
Okay, and he's played for 4 teams. All right, and then the other 2 again?
Davante Adams and Amari Cooper.
Adams has played for 4 as well. Oh, shoot, this is a tough one.
The key word is active touchdown catches.
Yeah. Which Cooper, I'm not going to go there. Okay. I'm going to go with my first instinct. I'm guessing I'm going to say DeAndre Hopkins.
You got it. It's DeAndre Hopkins.
Right.
Let's see. He played, Houston, Arizona.
Yep.
Tennessee, then Kansas City at the end of last year.
Yeah.
And then this would actually be his 5th team this
5
year.
teams, yep. Because Baltimore, right?
Baltimore, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's been traded to 4, but this is his 5th. So
yes. Now, good question.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And I gave you the key word. It was actives, and Cooper's not playing. So
yeah, that eliminated him. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought it was him anyway, even if he was playing.
Right. Well, it looks like we come to the end of our show. So, Joe, where can we find you in the social media world on Tuesday, December 23rd, 2025, the night before Christmas Eve, and 2 nights before Christmas Day?
Well, you can find me scratching my head trying to figure out how we got to this point so far. But Twitter X Joe Dell Sports there, putting my 2 cents in on stuff going on in the sports world.
And you can find me, yours truly, on Bill's Chat 1 at Bill's Mafia Chat, and also at Jamie Malloy, the unbiased journalist, at DJ Dogtags on X, and theforkball.com, where I write about all sports. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and ring the bell for all notifications. For more content on Driving to the Top production, please visit our YouTube page, Twitch stream, Facebook stream, X stream, wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you very much for listening. And remember, folks, huge thanks goes out to Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers for helping our Bills get into the playoffs. Shout out to Daquan Jones for getting his first ever interception in any level of football on Sunday.
Wow.
And we're also looking forward to all the 3 games on Christmas Day. But reminder, folks, to watch these games, you're going to need 2 streaming services. You're going to need Netflix for the 1 o'clock and the 4:30 games. And then 8:25, you could go to Amazon Prime where the Thursday night game is normally for those games. So remember, Amazon, it's only going to be on streaming. These games are not cable. So, and to quote our friend, Chris Berman, nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. See you next week, folks. And we wish you all a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday, and a Happy New Year. So be safe. We love you guys. See you next week, folks. Good night, everybody. Bye.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
To rock this place. Hey! Hey!